Hello, I am going to show you a little bit on how to use a Lucet, or some people call it a knitting fork. Either way, they're a lot of fun, no matter what you call it. I am going to be working with some chunky weight wool yarn. I actually dyed this yarn myself, but I like it. I made it for children. I had children in mind. My children, they love to work with yarns that are bright and colorful and that change colors. It's really exciting for them to see the end product. And yeah, and this is a chunky weight because chunky is just much easier, I find, for my kids when it comes to these kind of handicrafts. My children are almost 4 and 6 are the two that I'm thinking about. So anyhow, to get started, we just take our Lucet, hold it in your hand of choice. I'm going to be holding it in my left hand. I'm right-handed, and so my right hand will be doing all the work here, pretty much all the work. And I'm just going to start by sticking this yarn right into that center hole. And I do maybe 8-9 inches. And then I'm going to just grab onto the handle with the yarn down in there. And now my thumb is holding the yarn right in place where I want it. So I have my yarn in the back. I'm gonna be making figure 8s here. There are two methods to using a Lucet. One is where you're wrapping and you're constantly turning the Lucet as you work. And there's more than two methods, but two methods to making a square cord, I should say. This method does not involve turning the Lucet around. We just keep it here. So I'm going to start by doing 2 figure 8s to get the work going. So I'm going to go behind the right, down the middle, keep it there, behind the left, behind the right, behind the left. And then I'm just going to bring this just down here and let my thumb or my finger or whatever, just kind of hold it there while I work over here. So did you see that? So I just went behind, and then down, inside, behind, inside. Whoops, there we go. And then behind. It's always going from behind. And I'm just going to hold it. Now, I take this bottom loop and just kind of plop it over. That's it. And then over here, see, this one tried to sneak up. It's supposed to be on top. I'm going to take this bottom and pop it over. For children that are not quite old enough to really be handling this like that, you might want to start it for them. This is just how we're getting that first knot started instead of starting with a slip knot or something. So you might want to do that part. It can be tricky. But now that we are there, it goes pretty quick. So again, we're just going to make a figure 8, 1 figure 8, by starting going behind the right, in the middle, and then up behind the left. And then I'm going to pin it again, and bring this one over, and the bottom loop over. And then I just pull this around to get it into the center. And then I pull down. Eventually, all of your cord is going to feed out this bottom hole. So, again, we go behind, behind, over, over, pull to the center, behind, behind, pull to the center. Now I'm going to speed up a little bit. This is just a really great kind of one of those mind-numbing things that you can just sit and do and work on. Sometimes when my children are doing it, I just kind of want to do it too, because it's something I can do and not really have to think about too much else. Over, over, and we're starting to get some cord now. and just kind of center it. Okay, so as you can see, we're getting this square cord. It is very similar to an I cord when you're knitting. And it is, you know, it has a little bit of a pull, a little spring to it, and it's very strong. And I think it's pretty. So now I'll share with you a little story that I like to use when teaching the Lucet to my children. And we talk about a shepherd. So there is a shepherd, and he has many, many sheep. But he has 2 sheep that are especially naughty little sheep. They're always getting out of the fence and always running away. For this shepherd at night would try to fence his sheep in, keep them all in a pen so that he didn't, so that he could rest, you know, a little bit easier at night. But these sheep, they were very clever and very naughty, and they would often run away. And so the shepherd, he would try to pen them again and again. He'd put a fence right in front of each little sheep, but you know it, each little sheep just jumped right over that fence. But he kept trying. He'd just put another fence in front of one sheep, and then in the front of the second sheep. But they kept jumping right over that fence. But he kept working at it. Every night he would try. Sometimes he would try several times a night. He was a good shepherd, and he wanted to keep his sheep safe. But sure enough, they always jumped right over. He was very worried about what to do about these 2 sheep. He didn't want them to get hurt, or worse, to meet a wolf. And so he thought about it and thought about it. And he kept working on this pen. And eventually he thought, you know, I know what might work. I can take a strong cord and I can use that like a lead or like a leash. And then that will keep my sheep safe at night. And so he did, and it worked. So that's my story. It's kind of silly. It really makes no sense. A while ago, I tried to find some verses or stories or whatever to go with using a Lucet. I really like to teach with images and things, but I couldn't find anything, and that left me alone to make up my own. So I know it's silly, but change it. Go for it. However works for you. So let's go over how to end off what we have here. Okay, I had to go grab some scissors. So to end off, or to, fasten off, what I'm going to do is just, first I'm going to cut my remainder. And then again, I'm going to feed this around the right prong. And bring it over. And then I'm going to pull that right through that yarn that's cut. Kind of cinch it. And then bring it around the back, just like we were doing in our figure 8. Pull the loop over. Sheep hopping over that fence, naughty little sheep. And pull that up. And pull through. There. We have a nice clean finish. And that is the little Lucet cord that we made. I hope that helps.